my miners of intelligence and consciousness. I'm Rick Brooks, and this is Rick's Mind. We got a fireside chat today. That means DJ Don Juan DeMarco is in the house, and we're just going to talk shit and have a good time. What up, dude?
That is what we excel at.
It is.
Just talking shit.
It's been a while since we've done one of these, man. You know, it's been
I think about a month and a half, maybe.
Yeah, we've just been having a lot of success getting the best and brightest on Rick's Mind.
Definitely super cool guests we've had lately.
Yeah, it's a product of grinding. Slowly growing the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this, hit that subscribe button, please. Or
smash that like button.
Or I'll murder John. I will.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Please do that for my sake, for my family's sake.
Sorry, bro.
For my dogs.
And it's going to be your fault. I'm talking to you, person, random stranger on the internet. Nah, man, it's been fun. I sound like I have a cold, dude. Do I sound?
You do sound a little stuffy.
I'm not, though. I mean, I've had this like cough thing. I did have COVID. Mm-hmm. Maybe I've got long haul COVID, dude. Maybe I've got.
That is a thing. I mean, I kind of. I don't know if I qualified as like the actual like textbook diagnosis of long COVID, but I had like a lot of leftover symptoms and issues with COVID after I had it in when was that? October, November of 19.
Yeah,
that like did not go away until last spring when I got my vaccines, my first vaccine. Then I started to feel like just all of a sudden I just felt so much better.
Yeah, man, I understand. I kind of the same way. I feel great. I'm still able to work out, run, no effect there. Mm-hmm. But I do like cough at night still. I don't.
Yeah.
I was like
mine.
Fucked.
Yeah, mine. It's hard to tell if mine, because I have a cough that's intermittent. And that's either just asthma, which I have, or weed, which I smoke. But when I had the COVID thing was like, that was just, I was just felt no matter how much I rested, no matter how much like consistent exercise I was doing, I was just gassed all the time. Like I legit 2 weeks before I got sick, I ran a 10K. I think I maybe ran twice in the month leading up to it. And I ran it with a 10-minute mile, and it wasn't like impossible. It was hard, but it wasn't like terrible. But then all of a sudden, like I can't, even now still, I have trouble running like more than like 2.5, 3 miles.
Wait,
max.
You didn't get COVID though.
I did though. I don't have 100% proof that I did because it was early and it was before, but I did have literally every symptom of it except for I didn't lose my sense of smell. Taste was kind of weird for a couple weeks, but
let's go ahead and hit the pause on this because I don't want to talk about COVID, dude.
That's fair.
It's we're done with it.
I'm tired of COVID.
Well, it's over. It's over.
We're like, I feel like we're like 85%.
We're 94%
to like
of the
endemic to endemic status.
No, we're already in. I've been in the endemic since 2020. So that's how. F that. Don't want to talk about it. It makes me sad. And this is a happy day. It's President's Day. So when you guys hear this, it'll be probably weeks past. But I've enjoyed my holiday immensely. I have, I really haven't done a whole lot. Worked out.
I love when you called me on Saturday because we were going to do this Saturday afternoon. And then you were like, what are you doing Monday? It's a holiday. And I'm like, what holiday? And you were like, President's Day. I'm like, we're still doing President's Day?
Hell yeah, dog.
Because what it used to be what? Because they combined Lincoln and Washington's birthday into one day and then gave the other day, they made Martin Luther King Day, right?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not.
I think that's what it is. I always think of Holiday Inn because they had like the movie Holiday Inn with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye was in White Christmas. It was Fred Astaire. And they did a whole sketch. That's where the super duper yikesy blackface thing for Lincoln's birthday was in that in that film. It sucks. I love that movie. It's such a great movie, but that scene is one of those things you just have to like fast forward and be like, it was the 1930s. It's fine.
Dude, it was the 19th. You can't judge people based off of like the times, right? Like,
oh no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Is like I just fast forward to it's like uncomfortable watching a minstrel show, you know. But like I just fast forward. I'm like, it was the 30s. It's, you know, whatever. Bro, it's not good, but it was the time.
I would probably pause on that scene and laugh. I think that'd be funny. That was like, I think that's crazy. Yeah, I haven't watched any old movies in a long time, but I was watching a lot of the 90s, early 2000s films have, you know, a lot of crazy language in them. Like I think it's hilarious. Like, yeah. Like, I can't think of any examples right now. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say them because we're being recorded.
What is it? Whenever I watch like movies that are even from like 2002, which I mean is kind of the 90s extra innings, I guess. I always like, they'll drop like hard R's and just be like, yo, retard. And it's like, oh, hey, wait, I forgot about that. People used to say that.
Oh yeah. And like fag too. That's another one. I was watching, I think it was, it's the Arnold Schwarzenegger Christmas, Jingle All the Way. And
I love that movie.
They start beating up this, like a Turbo Man's sidekick or whatever. I was like, get him, fag. And I was like, what? You could not say that today. You can't say that today. And that was an old school, all that stuff. Like you can't, I mean, you can say that today, but you're probably going to be dealing with certain
depends on who
ramifications. You're saying it to.
Yeah, I like to use it as like a reclaimed word kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm just not going to say it, bro. It's worth more. I mean, I just did, but it's you know, we're a real small show. It'll probably come back to bite me in the ass at some point.
In 15 years, we'll find somebody will make a compilation of you saying fag, like ironically or in context of a conversation, like Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that poor son of a bitch.
He's a racist. It's like they were talking about it. What do you want him to say?
I know.
It's so stupid.
It is pretty dumb, dude.
It's like I have my issues with Joe Rogan, and they mainly stem from him not pushing back on certain people, and just the reason why he's such a great interviewer is because he's a chameleon. Mm-hmm. He makes everybody feel comfortable, and kind of almost like, whether he believes it or not, makes it kind of felt like he is on their side. Yeah. You know? And I think like, yeah, it's like he said in that with like his big long apology video when that compilation came out, and it's like, it's better off just not to say it, but also in context, they were literally like, the one joke about Planet of the Apes was just a dumb racist joke that he shouldn't have made.
Wasn't that like in the early 90s though?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, time and place could be funny, maybe, but also you're not black. So I'd just avoid it, you know, but all the other stuff, they're literally talking about like how the word is used or where it is, or doing like the Young Turks do when somebody uses the N-word with a hard R. They will read out a quote verbatim, and they won't censor it, because like people need to hear how awful it is, you know?
Yeah. It's, we have to be careful, right? Like as a like society, because I don't want to live in a society, and no matter which side you're on, left, right, center, up, down, whatever, if we lose the ability to forgive people and like let things go, that is not a society in which you should participate in or want to be in, because like everyone makes mistakes, and you know, you have to be super careful with your words, because your words they're something that you can never take back ever. And you know, the way that we mitigate that is if someone says they're sorry and they mean it, like you're able to forgive them, move on. And if we're not letting people do that, that's a pretty shitty place to exist in. It's not a good place, because everyone makes mistakes. Like I'm sure I know I've said terrible things when I was a teenager, a young man, insecure, scared, whatever. Like I've said terrible things that I wish I could take back, but I can't. And, you know, you just need to make amends with the people. And it's tough. A man like Joe Rogan or any of these other famous podcasters, whatever, them, you know, making mistakes and having the number one podcast in the world for years. I mean, shit, he's been doing this for what, nearly like a decade, right? No, longer than a decade. I'm pretty sure it's in the teens. He's
been doing the show for what, like at least 13, 14 years, but he's been like definitely
number one
top or at least top 3 for the last
decade.
10.
Yeah, for sure. And that's hundreds of hours. And I'm not going to lie to you. I've listened to a vast majority of them. Like I owe that man an enormous debt of just linking me to information, and especially in college, just seeing that there was another way to do things, or more. There's so much knowledge and so many of my interests. It's like we kind of share the same interests, and from his podcast, being able to look into all these people and all these sources, it's definitely made me smarter listening to his, and the introduction of Sam Harris and Dan Carlin and just tons of other figures I would give him credit to. So he's kind of, I don't know him, but damn it, I feel like I do know him. So I'm always going to have, you know, his back. And just because I owe him a giant debt. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had the Danielle Benelli podcast, right? I wouldn't have known about him. I mean,
there's a lot of just information in general that he has covered that I may not have heard it directly from his show, but I at least found like an expert or somebody that was a guest on his show that then led me down a rabbit hole to find any number of things. Like you and I talk a lot about our I think my feelings about Joe Rogan are, they're very nuanced, you know, like the past 3 years, really since around the election leading up to the last election. My issues with him is not necessarily like it's content based, and it's really just him needing to be more, because I think like a lot of his issues boil down to, he seems like a very nice person who is very humble given what he's done and achieved and his position and status. I think he just underestimates, I think he's starting to get it finally, which is great. Underestimated his
reach,
the size and pull and reach of his platform.
Yeah.
You know,
but I don't think I don't want him to change anything that he does. Like, I think that's honestly why well, I used to think you hated him, and there was like, that caused kind of friction. It caused a little bit of friction with me. I was like, how could you? But
it's like just one of those things that like, you're the hardest on people that you really admire. And I really like Joe Rogan. Like, I'm not a big fan of his comedy, just because that kind of stand-up comedy is not necessarily my, cup of tea. But he is a very talented comedian, and he's a fabulous interview. And like you said, his podcast, like, there are very few platforms that would equal the amount of reach, quality, and then also like editorial freedom that he has. And I think it's incredibly important that Joe Rogan exists. And I'm not one of those like dumb lefties that's just like, Joe Rogan talked about COVID, he's evil. It's more like Joe Rogan talked about COVID, and it's obvious that potentially his political, personal political beliefs have changed over the past few years. But at the very least, he has been, when he's been arguing with people or he's been interviewing, he's been very ideologically inconsistent. Because he is, like I said, he's a chameleon, so he kind of doesn't let his own viewpoint go through. And then, honestly, I think his issue is, I just think he got in with a really bad group of people that are like genuinely, like, some of them are genuinely Nazis, and some of them, the rest of them and all of them are just bad grifters
Well,
who play a game to make money.
I'm going to stop you there. I don't think any of them are Nazis.
Gavin McInnes, I guarantee you is.
No, they didn't get into
Blair White is awful.
Hold on,
Tim Pool's an idiot.
Not a Nazi. I don't think. I don't even know. I watched the Gavin McInnes. That was like 7 years ago.
That was like 6 years ago.
6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And they did not like each other. And this guy kind of was super weird. And I didn't like the interview. I mean, I remember there was a moment in that interview where Joe Rogan's like, I could fucking kill you. I could reach across this table and kill you. I shit you not. And I was like, yeah, I mean, because we were in the infancy of, I think what the show was called, Inquisitive Minds back then, a little anthology for you folks. And we were still in school and we were just kind of, messing around. And I remember I was listening to a lot of the JRE, Tim Ferriss, trying to figure out my own style, which is, we're getting close. And as I was listening to that interview, I was like, I don't know what I would do if I had someone on my show that was acting like this, just acting like a fuckhead, like being really cagey and doing this gonzo type. Like, how serious are you about the things that you're saying? Like, I'd feel pretty disrespected and pretty.
That's what, see, that kind of person, that's what makes Gavin McInnes so dangerous. And the typical people of that, like Gavin McInnes, at that time, Milo Yiannopoulos, who else was it? Not Tim Pool's just an idiot.
How dare
there
you.
was one other that Steven Crowder, right? Those guys, like, back then they were playing this game to say, like, well, we're libertarians. We just believe in free speech. I'm not going to tell you what I believe. But now, like, I mean, Steven Crowder is like weekly, multiple times a week, essentially doing a minstrel show on YouTube.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah. He's a quote unquote comedian. He's not funny at all.
Okay. Now hold on. His whole shtick. Time out.
Yeah.
You're bringing in your own. I'm sure
in my opinion,
excuse me.
Exactly. In my opinion, he's not funny. He was famous for, in like the mid-aughts, late aughts, being on Fox News on one of their late night shows as like he was like 18 or 19 when he started on there, and that he was like the Christian comedian who was a virgin and not having sex until he was married.
Oh, shut up. That's not real. Google,
that's for real. That is, I guarantee you.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, he had there was an episode, the show was called Red Eye, that it was that guy, Greg Gutfeld, that's now like...
How do you know all of this, dude?
I am terminally online.
You gotta stop.
I need help.
You gotta stop.
So it was his show, and it was like a panel show where it was the host and like maybe 2 or 3 other people. And there was a particular episode, I'll put the link in the show notes, where Amy Schumer was on, the comedian Amy Schumer. And she just fucking roasted Steven Crowder. It was great for being just like a dweeb, that's all he is. And now he's just a racist, like a horrible racist.
Stop.
No, objectively, I'm not being hyperbolic with you.
In your opinion,
I'll send you some videos. It's kind of hard not to think.
Please do. I feel like as a white person, you're quicker to throw that term around than I am.
I mean, he's literally done blackface on his show.
Well, I don't know if that makes you a racist, dog. I don't know. We throw that word around a little too willy nilly now. So you're guilty.
Racist?
Yes, you're super guilty of that.
I mean,
I'm more of like, what's in your heart? Do you judge someone? Are you scared of someone from said race? Do you hate them when you see are you a bad person, or are you just trying to get attention, right? Are you just trying to that's what he's trying to do?
I think so. I agree with you.
Okay.
That like Joe Rogan's joke about what was it? Planet of the Apes, right?
Okay.
I don't think that was a joke that is rooted in a racist thought, but Joe Rogan is not. I don't think Joe Rogan is a racist. I think that was just a dumb joke he was trying to tell to be edgy. You know,
I mean, I know he's definitely not a racist, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah. Steven Crowder. Yeah, Steven Crowder, however, has a decade plus of extremely questionable borderline shit that is like, you know, a couple times, a few times that's being edgy. When it's a pattern, you know.
As a spokesperson for the Black community, let me go ahead and take a look at this. You listen, sir. Listen. White man, I will be the judge of that. Okay, I'm messing with you, brother. I love you, but no, you do throw that word around too much, and I know you mean well. I know you mean well, but you know, we have a podcast here. We're not taking sides. We're sitting back and we're just looking at all the chaos that's going on. We got to keep level heads. We don't get in our feels. We don't do any of that shit. Like, we are confident and who we are as human beings. And if someone is going to look at me and hate me just solely based off of the extra melanin that I have in their skin, in my skin, right? Well, I feel sorry for that person. And I feel sorry because you've just now shut out, nixed an entire culture, community, way of thinking, way of being, just because of your insecurity and your fears. And I think that as a society, we've come a long way from where we were. Right. And I think we still have a ways to go, but I don't think it's terrible. I mean, I have issues with like the things that I was told in college, right? Told that just because I was black, just because I was black, that like things were going to be harder for me. I was going to be discriminated against in this. I mean, I've had this conversation on the podcast before, and I don't think that that's right. Like, yes, maybe, but I can't live my life like that. I have to have a mentality that if one door closes, I'll knock down 10 in order to get where I want to be. You know, I look at being black as the biggest blessing that's ever occurred to me. Number one, I'm fucking beautiful. Number two,
that skin, I'd kill for your skin.
Thank you, dude. I don't get sunburned, you know, very often. It's a good life.
That must be nice. Like I have to load up with at least 2 layers of sunscreen.
I've never put it on. Never worn sunscreen.
Like, during the winter, you can definitely tell I'm Lithuanian because I'm like mostly pretty pale. But during the summer, I go like golden brown because I'm Italian. But I still have to like layer up with sunscreen to not just roast immediately.
You have to pick something. You have to pick where you're from. I've decided this. You're either Lithuanian or you're Italian. And you can't have both, or you're just regular old white. Give me time
to think. You're
just regular old white. I'm down for regular old white.
White's boring though. White means you have no culture.
Well, I mean, all of those things are pretty much. That doesn't. No, it doesn't. I don't think it means that. What are you talking?
That's what I've always is like. That's why they call like, you know, European people in the United States, they call them white because they like what is white culture? That's like when the Nazis talk about like white pride, and it's like, what are you proud of? The fact that you don't have a lot of melanin?
Well, they eat a lot of schnitzel over there and drink beer.
I mean, schnitzel's great.
It is pretty good. It is.
You know,
it is. I don't know. That's always a pet peeve of mine. I think it's a bad pet peeve because I don't know, when I was in college, there'd be someone that was maybe triracial, or you know, like you couldn't really figure out like what, you know.
Technically, I'm mixed because like
oh
a very
my
significant
god,
portion of mine is
stop.
Well, no. I'm not saying I'm part black. I'm saying like a significant portion of my heritage is Native American. Like actually recently born on a reservation.
Okay, I agree, but like if I was gonna pick a Native American out of a lineup, like you would not be.
Oh, you wouldn't pick me. No,
100%.
That's why I do say I'm just like white,
just regular old white. Yeah,
I mean I'm like mostly European heritage. Yeah,
regular old white, just plain and simple. Boring,
just white bread, you know.
I'm like
rye bread. I'm rye bread. I'm white, but there's some flavor there, you know.
Oh man.
That's why I always tell people I'm spicy white. You
know? No, did you like? See, you either. I would say because you're either. I mean, you're Lithuanian. So you eat borscht, so that's pretty boring, right? You're eating fucking beets.
That's an argument we could have. That is an argument we could have.
And then
boiled egg. some sour cream, a little dill. Come on, my man.
Sauerkraut. I don't know. I mean, maybe sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut's German.
Okay, yeah, close enough. And then you're Italian.
It's like what 3 countries in between.
Then
whatever.
you're Italian. But it is funny because, like, I could do this to you, right? But you could not probably do the same thing to me. Like, let's say, the people are like, this mother, he is so. So technically, what I'm doing is maybe racist. I don't know. Just calling you regular old
I think
white.
it's more. I think
it's funny.
Technically. Well, I do too. Technically, I think it would be technically bigotry because racism implies structures of power, because I think racism is technically power and privilege.
Yeah.
Like, so technically, within a very dictionary way, I don't believe somebody who is of a minority race in the United States could be racist.
No, shut up, dude. Don't ever say that.
I'm saying by the definition, the dictionary definition of the word racism. Now, bigoted, fuck yeah.
Well, no, you could definitely be a black racist for sure.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I mean, black Israelites exist.
I happen to have some people of Middle Eastern descent that are a little bit racist, that are homies of mine towards
that.
White people,
and
friend.
I mean, there's a hell of a lot of
friends.
Of
you know who
you
are. If you're listening, you know who you are. Okay,
you're called out.
You've been called out. No, I've called them out. I'm like, bro, you can't say that about white. That's terrible. It is. They're like, I'm right. I'm like, oh, come on, man, get the fuck out of here. They're everywhere. They outnumber us now.
See, that's the problem with the United States, is that we don't have that, like in Europe, right? Every country is basically its own country, but it's essentially like a state, like the United States. The like outside of like the Nazis and the actual like extremists that are there in the cultures, for the most part, it's just like gentle local ribbing, like making fun of Polish people because they were poor at one point, or Polacks. Italians because we eat tomatoes or something, or just like whatever. It's not like, for the most part, it's not malicious. Whereas here, it's like always at least frothing at the mouth.
I think that, like, if you've got a diverse group of friends, like you and I both do, like you can definitely make racial jokes. As long as you're cool with those people and you love them and they know that there's nothing evil coming. I mean, shit. I've said some terrible things about my Mexican homies, and then they've got me right back. They've got me back, dude. So good. And I don't know.
It's like
that's just who I am as a person, though. Like,
well, and there was a comedian that I saw on. I think I might have seen it on like Stand Up Shots on Reddit. That's just like, if you've never seen that subreddit,
I did. I was actually just going to ask you about this. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, like 10 to, I think it's less than a minute generally, 1 minute or less clips of people doing stand-up, of comedians doing their stand-up. And so it's great. So you can actually see just like a joke in context. And there was a black guy that was doing a joke where he was talking about like TERFs and transphobes and everything. And he was talking about like, he's like, there's a way you can make jokes about trans people without being transphobic. Here, listen, you know what? I'm jealous. It's like, it's not fair. Trans women, they're women and they have nice feet. That's fucked. It's like, I probably did the joke wrong, but it's like that. Like, you can make jokes that point out like differences in like ethnic groups or cultures without making it malicious,
Maybe. I think so. I'm not a comedian though. I wouldn't want that job, dude. That'd be so hard.
Yeah. Have you ever been
to an open mic night?
I haven't, no.
Dude, you have to go. You have to go, bro. Like, the amount of times I've been so embarrassed and uncomfortable for some poor sap that's just bombing. Like, there was a girl that was up there, and she told what she thought was a joke, and then she like stopped. It was silent. She's like, "You guys don't get it? You don't get it? Like, you don't get it? It's so funny." And I was like, "Stop talking!" You just
that's
churning
like that,
in your seat, man. Oh.
That's like that Jeb Bush, when Jeb Bush was doing his speech and everybody was just quiet and he was just like, "Please clap."
Oh man, Jeb Bush, dude. I love Jeb Bush, man. That guy was such a character. He was such a character.
Can you imagine?
I didn't even want to talk about it. If he was gonna, Yeah.
Your dad was a president. Your grandfather tried to have a coup. Your brother was president, and you're the fuck up.
Yeah.
And you could only manage to be governor of Florida. Like,
Yeah.
and now there's I forget there's another Bush that's in politics. I think in Texas that I think he might be George W. Bush's nephew. Maybe. I don't know. He's he's like Herbert Walker Bush's grandson. He's campaigning on that he's a Bush, but not like those Bushes.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
I'll have to find that. He's like trying to go for the Trump crowd.
I loved it when G-Dub was president. Just all the funny jokes and how bad he was at talking and stuff.
Odd. Minus the complete overhaul of how our government functions and kind of is kicked us down the hill of collapse. I miss just having a dumb president.
The Patriot Act and all the freedoms that we lost and never got back.
And all the
government spying.
How many trillions of dollars were lost to defense industry contractors?
Buddy.
Through all of the wars that we did.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah. Maybe I don't miss that, but I don't. I do.
I miss SNL with Will Ferrell as George W. Bush. That was quality. That was genuine quality.
Yeah, that was the move. That was like those are some good years. Amy Poehler, Will Ferrell. I can't think of
Anna Gasteyer was on there.
Yeah, who was Fred Armisen?
Armisen, yeah.
Armisen.
I think he was on a little later. I think he might have like started
they crossed over.
It was like toward the end of like Will Ferrell's time on. He left that in like 2008, 9.
I never watched. I watch a lot of the SNL clips on YouTube, man. Like that's pretty much like I've never really stopped watching. Like I don't. I wouldn't say that. I watch the full shows, but like if there's a clip on and some actor that I know, I might give it a watch on the tube of YouTube. But
I see clips here and there, but I haven't like really like sought them out or looked for them in a long time. I used to, like when I was a teenager, I used to watch the reruns they would have of it on Comedy Central. That they wouldn't show like the newest shows, but they would like just rerun all the old ones and like somewhat contemporary seasons. But I never and then occasionally I would like TiVo it and watch it live or watch it later. But after Will Ferrell left, I didn't really have any interest in it because he was so funny and everybody on there was so good.
Yeah,
it was like after he left, after Norm Macdonald left, I kind of just quit paying attention because it was just like I didn't feel as funny to me, I guess.
Yeah, man, rip Norm.
Dude, that sucked because Norm Macdonald was truly like the greatest comedian of all time, in my opinion. Like the way the man could tell a joke about absolutely nothing and waste your time for minutes for just the dumbest fucking most obvious punchline was just beautiful.
Yeah, when he died, someone told me to look up. I think it's the moth joke or something like that.
Yeah,
dude, I did.
Where he was
that.
On
Conan.
He was on Conan. Yeah, that's exact. I always think of that because it was like a 3.5 minute story for just a really obvious punchline.
I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was.
I always appreciated too how he didn't pull punches, and he always he never just he'd make jokes about people, but he never just made the easy jokes like called him fat, called him ugly, or did something obvious. It was always something very, very specific that actually felt like it was a burn,
I'm not, I didn't end up watching. I haven't watched any of his stand-ups, or I think I've seen a few of his movies, but I wasn't a huge fan. I liked him. I'm sad to see him go. Same with Bob Saget. I remember him from America's Funniest Home Videos, but I never watched any of his stand-up or anything like that.
Yeah, me neither.
I think I've seen a few of his films, but
I know that he did that kind of when he was done with Full House and his family friendly image. He made that kind of heel turn to raunchy comedian.
He was always a raunchy comedian.
Oh, I
always.
guess that's true.
Yeah.
And I never saw. I don't know if I ever actually have even seen any of his stand up, even
No.
clips.
I think we should probably I should probably do a deep dive into some of it though, since
Yeah.
just out of risk. I am a big fan of comedians, and I need to go see more stand up comedy, man. Like I saw Tim Dillon, and that was a fucking great show. I thought I was gonna
Oh, I
die.
bet.
Yeah,
I
he had
bet.
some really good bits, and but it's hard for me because there's a lot of comedians that come through the Rose City, and most of them aren't really big acts, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. What if I don't laugh? I just gotta
You just go.
yeah, I gotta stop being a little beezy and just do it.
I feel like
Just
stand-up
sack up
comedy,
and send it.
stand-up comedy is going to be like if you go to a show in a town like Portland that's that big and that like big of a cultural center. It's like a music show. If there's a touring act that's coming through, they're probably
pretty good.
At least worth your time.
That's what I'm thinking.
Same with the stand-up. Now, if you go to a local open mic night,
You got
it's probably going to be hit and miss.
You should definitely. I would encourage anyone that's watching this, please go to an open mic. You will have the time. You're going to laugh. You're going to feel very uncomfortable, and it's going to be a good time. It's free. The drinks are probably going to be a little expensive if you're into that. You can get a soda water. They're going to charge you $3 in my experience, which I kind of hate it when people charge me for fucking soda water. Especially, I do long stints of zero alcohol, whatever. And I'll just, if I'm going to go kick it with the homies, I'll just go out and order a club soda lime. Sometimes I get charged for that. I'm like, you motherfucker.
That's so shitty.
Club soda is so cheap. It's water.
And it's not even it's literally
comes out of the gun.
Water. Yeah. That's so stupid. I remember I went and saw Jimmy Eat World in Indianapolis. I don't remember when it was, maybe 10 years ago. And the place was it was a concert venue, but it was almost like it was one of those concert venues that it's literally just a room with a stage, and then where the merch table was, there was also a concession stand, and they were selling water for $6. And I was just like, do you guys not just have, and it was almost a bar. And I was like, do you guys not just have water cups? And they were like, no, you have to buy water. And I'm like, damn. Okay, that's fucking stupid.
You parted with those 6 bones, though, for sure.
Yeah, I was thirsty.
Yeah, so you got to do it. You got to do it. I was the first time I went to Europe, I was horrified at you had to buy water. It's like, what is this place? But you kind of get used to it. I lived over there for a time, and that was an interesting. I think beer was cheaper where I was staying. I was staying in Denmark. Yeah. Beer was cheaper than water a lot of the time, which
that makes sense.
Well, yeah.
I wonder why if that's still a holdover from just infrastructure not being up to par for water purification.
I don't know. I don't think so. You're saying that, just a cultural continuation,
like a cultural holdover from back in the day. Because at least in the United States, in the 1800s, that's why people drank so fucking much, because you still can hydrate with beer and wine, but it's not very efficient.
No, it's not.
And you still get drunk as hell.
Yeah. I mean, it was a low percentage beers. What a time to be alive. Or you just are out. Well, actually, no, I would not want to do that, but I'm just I'm saying it's kind of interesting to think about. Dude, I don't even when you think back to the 1800s, 1700s, and how hard life was and how many children that they had to bear. I don't even think that. I think that's a completely different type of human. They are much harder than we are today. And they had to deal with so much more shit, right? They didn't know as much, right? Most of them just toiled and worked, and they had a calorie deficit. We're now, for the first time in history, have a calorie surplus, and that's why there's a lot of obesity and whatnot.
Out of shape.
Yeah. Speak for yourselves, motherfuckers. Not this guy. Although I was a little chubster. I 100% was.
I used to be very big as a teenager. I'm 5'10", and I was 270 something with no muscle on me at all. Very little muscle. That
was the most you weighed. I think the most I weighed was I was 273. I think that was the biggest when I I'll never forget just looking at myself and just being, you've become what you hate. How dare you? That was a tough. And then I tried to run.
Was that
and I was
pre-football, after football?
Oh, this is definitely after football, man. I was never out of shape when I was playing ball. Like I was always in decent shape. There's a little bit of running and a lot of weightlifting.
Sure.
So I never was super out of shape. But then after I quit playing, which I didn't play college football for that long. I just started partying, and I even during those years, I managed to stay in shape, or relatively good shape, because I was still hitting the gym, and
you're always doing stuff.
Yeah, I was walking to class or riding my bike, and there's just a lot of time to burn calories. It was actually when I finished school and got an office job. That's when all the drinking from college and then the sitting and all of that stuff really just poor food choices just really started mounting. And that's when I started packing on the pounds. I got big. I was fat. I was.
My worst was when I was, like I said, I was a teenager. I was 16, I think, when I was that weight. And I had to go see an endocrinologist, and they were like, well, if you don't lose, at least 100 pounds, you're probably going to be dead by 30 from diabetes. And I was like, cool, I'll lose weight.
Whoa.
So I did.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, it was very scary, but I'll tell you what, that's nothing more motivating than that. So, and I immediately, I had been exercising, and I played sports, but I didn't really eat well, and I didn't take care of myself. And that's when I started learning way more in depth about nutrition and exercise and how to actually take care of yourself properly. And I got way too small. I kind of had toward the end kind of developed a little bit of bulimia because I was or not bulimia. Bulimia, I guess.
There's anorexia and the bulimia. I think is bulimia where you I think we'll Google that, but
I didn't make myself purge. I didn't throw up or anything. I just didn't eat very much because I was afraid of gaining weight. So maybe that's anorexia. But I was somewhere in that eating disorder zone because I got down to, I think my lowest was 140, which I was literally skin and bones.
All right, so hold on. Bulimia is an emotional disorder involving distortion of body image and an obsessive desire to lose weight, in which bouts of extreme overeating are followed by depression and self-induced vomiting.
So I never did the vomiting.
So I think you just didn't eat, you just starved yourself?
Yeah, kind of. And I exercised and then didn't eat too out of fear of gaining weight.
So lack or loss of appetite for food. Yeah, an emotional disorder characterized by excessive desire to lose weight by refusing to eat. So you just
that was kind of where I was.
So you just didn't.
Yeah.
I think it's anorexia nervosa.
It's anorexia nervosa.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, I was never in danger.
I didn't
of that.
ever get to I never got to danger zone levels, but I was kind of on the edge of that danger zone. And then I bounced back and I've built myself up. I need to lose weight. I've put on the COVID, what do they say? COVID-15, that between inactivity and then medication, I need to have gained some weight. So I need to work on that, which I am. I'm cycling a lot more and I'm trying to get my diet back, to a better place. Depression kicks your ass.
How much weight do you want to lose?
I'm right now about 2. I go back and forth. I'm around between 235, 240, and I'm comfortable where I am, but I would like to be down closer to 220, 225.
You want to get down to 205?
Yeah, or 225.
225.
So I want to lose about 15 to 20 pounds, which I feel like that when I was that weight, I was nice. I was really lean. I felt really good.
What do you want, a 6-pack, or what are you trying to get to?
No, I'm not trying to do not necessarily for aesthetics. It's mainly just for
for health.
I feel heavy, and I would like to not, I guess, and so it's not like a terribly stressful thing that I'm just I have to lose weight. But more so I just need to eat better and be more active and it'll go, And I've started doing that. I'm doing better. My problem too, like I said, medication is a problem. My antidepressant makes like when you take it after about 6 months, you gain about 10 pounds. And then I take Adderall for my ADHD, and that fucks your hunger cues up so bad.
Oh, it's an appetite suppressant.
Yeah, unintentionally, because I legitimately I get so focused on doing whatever I'm doing, I forget to eat. Like I won't eat lunch or something, and then it'll be like, I'll have breakfast, take my meds at 9, and then it'll be probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock when they finally wear off, or they're worn off enough that I'm just like, God, I'm starving.
What do you eat for breakfast?
It depends on the mood I'm in. Most of the time I wake up and it's all of me, everything I can do to make coffee. So most of the time I have stuff like yogurt or oatmeal. Sometimes I just have leftovers.
Could you skip breakfast? Take your pills earlier. Your pills earlier, and then have a timer. And no matter what, just eat something small, like at noon. So you're gonna try and do a 16-hour fast.
I used to do that a lot. I did intermittent fasting for probably 5-6 years, I think. And it really worked for me very well. And I felt really good, like not having breakfast, then have like first meal of the day was like between 11 and noon. When I was in college, that worked really well because I always had a gap between 11 to 12 that I could go home and eat and then go back to class. But with my medication, like you have to take, like I did that for a while I was taking Adderall, and I would just take my Adderall and then like I'd take it at like 9 or 10, and then a couple hours later I'd eat, and it just tore my stomach apart from the medication. It's just too much to have on an empty stomach. So I kind of have to have food in my stomach. So I generally have like smaller breakfast.
I've got a hack for you. Try the second concoction.
Okay.
Put butter in your coffee so you get calories, or ghee. It's like
to coat your stomach with the oil.
Yeah. And then I put a little turmeric in there. That's an anti-inflammatory. So I eat a lot of turmeric. And then I would say MCT oil, but here's the catch. If you're not used to MCT oil, you will have the Hershey squirts. And it is no fucking joke, bro.
I don't have that problem.
You do MCT. Then you can add MCT oil.
Yeah, we got for our wedding. It was actually uncoordinated, but fabulously done. Someone gave us an espresso machine, and then someone gave us a really nice coffee grinder. So I normally do if it's like the weekend, I might do a latte for breakfast, but most of the time I just do like 4 shots with hot water and some soy milk, and then collagen protein.
Yeah, put collagen
and
in my
MCT oil.
Too.
Yeah.
So I do that, and then just around noon, 1, I would definitely just eat a. I mean, it all depends on what you're trying to do. I'm like, there's a war. I mean, I'm always running the battle against the chub. I'm always battling carbohydrates. They're the devil. If anything, I'm a hybrid keto / dirty keto. Primarily, most of my meals are very low carb.
What would dirty keto be? So you don't 100% not eat carbs, but you have some.
I would say the most sustainable thing. This is the most sustainable. I call it the Rick Brooks diet, but it's the most sustainable thing I've ever found. Like most of my meals are like very low carbohydrates. I'm not eating any rice or grains. It's pretty much meat and vegetables. A lot of organ meats, a lot of like beef heart, liver. Cauliflower rice is an amazing substitute.
Rice cauliflower.
Yep. So that I do that. I will allow, I'm not really too picky about sweet potatoes. I'm going to eat sweet potatoes. Generally they're going to be on a day, like after a leg day or after a pretty grueling like jujitsu practice or anything. I'll throw in some sweet potatoes, and I'll have no remorse over that. Beets are okay as well. But you got to stay away from cheese is good. All vegetables are pretty much good. A lot of cabbage. One thing that I would encourage you to try that has helped me, I think, significantly is before every meal, I generally eat about 4 or 5 ounces of either kimchi or
something fermented.
Yeah.
Like
Cauliflower, or no, sauerkraut or whatever.
Yeah.
So I eat about
yeah.
4 or 5 ounces of that, and then I eat my meal. So then I end up eating less. I would
just a
allow,
probiotic.
like, when if you're going to do this, like, allow yourself a banana, one piece of fruit. That's a great cheat code, right? Banana, if you want to have a smoothie with berries, like, go ahead and do that. Basically, like, my biggest problem with every time I try and diet, and I'm constantly terminally on a diet, I like eating clean. My biggest issue is I get too rigid, and I'll like just cut out fruit or cut out little cheat codes. But eating, and no bread, dude, absolutely no bread. Eating a piece of fruit's not a big deal. Eating a sweet potato is not. If I'm starting to feel guilty about eating real foods like that, I need to calm the fuck down. So I would encourage you to do that. Another good thing that is sustainable is 80-20, right? Like 80% of your meals, like Monday through Friday, maybe Saturday, if you're a badass, you eat clean. And then one night, one day, you eat whatever you want to eat, right? You just kind of do whatever you want to do.
That's what I've had success with, that kind of method of, like, whenever I don't really say I'm on a diet, just because, like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like that implies that there's, like, a very strict plan that I'm sticking to. Whereas normally I just try to do very simple, more calories out than calories in, get my macros, and stick to, like, it's kind of like a low carb Mediterranean, I guess, or paleo is kind of what I stick to, except I like grains, like some grains, like whole grains, like brown rice, or barley, stuff like that, quinoa that has protein in it.
Cut it out.
I don't eat a lot of it. Honestly, my biggest problem that I have is a combination of Adderall induced forgetting to eat, like, during the middle of the day, and then just being so fucking hungry at the end of the day that I end up eating too much, or getting stoned and eating, like, late in the day.
It's probably a combination of all those things.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, I know that my body is, like, I am not, like, a lean person. I've always kind of been a chubby kid, but also, like, I'm okay being, like, a barrel as long as I'm fucking strong. That's all I care about. Why
don't you be a barrel with a ripped 6-pack?
You're so obsessed with 6-pack,
dude. It's because it's the one thing that eludes me in life. I'm strong as fuck. I look great. It's getting there. It's coming in. I'm just impatient. The amount of discipline to attain a 6-pack when you're 6'2", 240, and I've got quite a bit of definition, and my stomach is shrinking. The amount of just the discipline to look that way, 100% natural, is impressive, and it's something that I've been striving for forever. And I'm so, like, are
you going for like the Men's Health cover photo 6-pack, or are you going for, like, the real life, just hulked out, like, Aaron Donald, like,
hulked out Aaron Donald version?
Like, I've been borderline at
DK
that before.
Metcalf, something like that.
Never that. No, I mean, I'm not. DK Metcalf isn't human.
I'm not even close to DK.
He's something amazing.
I lost $250 by making that bet. I was like, I look like DK Metcalf.
No one looks
dude.
Like DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is the only one who looks like DK Metcalf.
I went 92 days not drinking. I was doing fucking 500 kettlebell swings, and I just did not. I did not even get.
So
close
you're doing,
to that.
like, you kind of do when you lift. When you lift, do you go? Like Bill Gillespie on our last show it will be our last show, actually. When he was talking about, like, his training, he doesn't do the, like, high rep, low weight thing like bodybuilders do. He does, like, low rep, cycles. Is that what you do? Do you do more like the bodybuilder stuff?
I'm doing more bodybuilder stuff. I was. Now I've kind of switched into, I've kind of just done my own thing. I'm really just kind of getting a little bit obsessed with grappling. And so a lot of my,
you're doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Grappling. I'm throwing a little judo in there, but a lot of my workouts are trying to increase my endurance. I have a lot of strength, And I always want more, but I really just want to train my muscles to have more endurance and be able to. I want to be in better shape, so a lot more running, a lot more higher volume things. That's kind of I'm doing 20 reps, like 4 sets of 20, 5 sets of 20, just to get that endurance up.
The most success I've had when I weightlift has always been doing. My dad has always made my workouts for me, because when you have a world renowned strength coach, why the fuck wouldn't you have him make your workouts?
Yeah.
I tend, honestly, the most success I have and have had weightlifting in terms of aesthetically feeling good about the way my body looks, and then also like analytically being really strong and in good shape all around, is when I do my dad's off-season football workouts for the most part, where it's like a 6-week cycle where you build up to doing just like that classic Soviet Bulgarian training, where it's like you do a push, a pull, a squat, a bench, and one other thing. I can never remember the other one. And then just do some like small like side pieces to mix in, but like every day is like like every day it's like I'm doing squats and deadlifts, or I'm doing front squats and bench, or I'm doing back squats and like good mornings or something like that,
RDLs.
Or what are they called? RDLs. Like that generally has worked for me, because like I don't get so much on the aesthetic part. I've been, when probably the best like aesthetically I've looked is when I've been doing that and I was just hulked the fuck out,
Yeah.
And I've never been super into being like, I gotta be 8% body fat or whatever. Is like, I just want to be healthy and be strong.
I'd like
really
to be
what
like,
I care about.
I'd like to be like 15%.
Yeah. I think I was down to I was close to that at one point.
Because I believe
it took so much effort to stay that way that it just wasn't worth it.
Anywhere between 18 and I believe 15%, you'll have abs showing. That's where I'm kind of close to that right now. But I'm still, I'm still, in my opinion, morbidly obese and just soft.
That is the most hyperbolic thing you've ever
fucking
said.
Soft, dude.
You're 6'4"? What do you weigh?
Jesus, no, dude. I'm like 6'1", 250. All right, maybe I might be like 240 right now. I have shredded up a little bit, so I'll have to weigh I've never really cared how much I weigh. If I was 300 pounds and had a six pack, I'd be the happiest person ever. Like, I don't give a shit how much I weigh.
Well, if you were 300 pounds and had a six pack, you would be a brick shithouse.
Yeah, that would be ideal. But that, that's not going to happen. So I don't. If I look good and feel good, then that's where I really stop focusing on the weight. But hopefully, in the coming weeks, Dr. Eric Berg will be coming on the show, because there's a lot of questions I want to ask him, especially pertaining to diet and food. I mean, he's pretty deep into the keto train, but what I like about him is a lot of the ways that I eat, the things that I put in my body, they're pretty calculated. Like all the food, I know what all these foods that I do for me, and that's like part of the joy of eating. I don't look at I definitely look at food as fuel, as opposed to I don't really eat necessarily for the taste. I like to just fuel my body. Granted, yes, I fucking love pizza, but and pasta and all things fried. I love all of that stuff, and Taco Bell, but I can't eat it. It's poison.
Taco Bell is so hard because just like, I know there's sand in there, but god damn, that sand tastes good.
Oh yeah, it's it's probably not even real meat, man, but it is.
It's well, no, for real. What was that? That was in 2008, 9. Yeah. That was a big thing that they found. Silica was listed in the ingredient list of their meat, and it was literally sand.
What? Oh no, I wish I wouldn't have known that. Oh,
I don't know if they have changed that.
No, they definitely.
I don't know if they've changed that, but it was bad.
One of the things that one of the things that fascinates me, the new trend of eating, where we're eating like plant-based burgers made out of like, in my opinion, garbage and like almost egg or better. I don't know. That shit scares the fuck out of me. I will never eat that ever. And if you do, kudos to you. I think that's cool. But I don't trust, number one, I don't trust humans. I think that like if you're manufacturing food, like I'm going to just stick with what's been working for the past several 100,000 years, like organ meat, vegetables, roots, keep it simple. If you look at, if you even look at like, if you read the Genghis Khan and the making of the modern world, the historian gets so detailed into the Mongol army. He breaks down their diet and how much more superior it was to the Chinese that they were invading. It made them stronger. They had better teeth because they were eating a certain way. And I mean, that was like kind of a big catalyst for me to kind of, I got way too hardcore into it and it failed, but I've since dialed it back and thrown in some fruit.
That seems to be a reoccurring theme with you.
There's something I'm working on. And I'm glad you bring that up because yes, it is. I do get way too hardcore into things. I get too rigid in, I try to be so hyper disciplined. Too structured, which you can't just all of a sudden wake up and be 100% dialed and disciplined. Some people can, this motherfucker can't. I do it in a process where I slowly and methodically work towards scaling up the intensity. My biggest issue is I always want to bite off too much. Whereas like it's easy. The thing that I focus on now and what's really been a game changer so far this year is focusing on really small habits.
Yeah.
Really small. Like I want to read more. All I do now is read 1 page a day. Generally speaking, I read like 5 to 6, right? But on a day where I'm like, minimum. Fuck it, my minimum is that is my goal. My goal for jujitsu, right? I just picked it up again, is to go to 2 practices a week. Now I'm slowly becoming obsessed with it and pretty sure that I'll end up going 5 days a week. But at the moment, it is 2 days a week. That is what I do. To running, I run 1 day a week. That's it. And I lift the rest, right? So these, but I'm eventually will have the structure to scale these habits up as time goes on. I'll have a foundation, excuse me, and the habit formed, and then we'll be able to scale them up. Where a lot of people make this mistake, and I would encourage you to do this as well. When if you're trying to get into working out again, like 3 days a week, go to the gym or whatever you're going to do it for 15 minutes. There was a guy that lost hundreds of pounds by going to the gym every day because he wanted as part of his identity to be the guy that was at the gym and that never missed a workout. We had Bill Gillespie on here who said never miss a workout, right? So he would go in order to get Bill. It took Bill 50 years to probably less than that, but let's say 10 years to get there, right? This guy would show up to the gym for 15 minutes a day on his way home from work, do like, maybe some curls, some stretches, and dip out. Yeah. And he did that every day for, I don't even know, I'm going to make this, let's say 6 months. Then eventually, then it was 30 minutes. And then it was 45. And then pretty soon he lost all this weight because he formed the habit. He was really gentle with himself. I think that that's the problem. That's the mistake that I make. And I think that that's the mistake that a lot of people make is they
start too strong.
They start too strong. They don't realize you can always scale things up in intensity. That is something that we're designed to do. But in order to, you must first focus on forming the habit. That you must first focus on forming the habit, 100%.
That's when I do weightlifting and I'm going back to weightlifting after having I've been running mostly for I don't know 3 months. So I haven't lifted in 2 or 3 months. When I have a workout plan, if I can't hit every single set at every single weight or every single rep, as long as I'm building towards getting to the point where I'm going to be doing that workout, to a T, then I'm good with it, you know. And I've kind of I kind of take the same approach. I'm trying to do. I was doing running a lot earlier last year, but then I had to stop because I had my hip flexor was acting up. And I just honestly, I think I just need to try low impact stuff just because of my knee. It was bothering me as well. So I've switched mostly to cycling, and I've been doing about 2 days a week trying to get back into it. And every time I go, I don't like, I have a problem with like, so the flip side of that I have a problem with is I try to be, in a way, go too hard, too fast. But then I also try to like track my metrics, you know, like how far am I going? What are my splits? What's my time? All of this stuff. Like how far did I go last time? I need to go at least at this time. And now I'm trying to just like, I have like a little computer that I have on my bike that I can track, but I've like, for a while, I'm not going to use it. And I just go out and I'm like, I'm just going to go, you know, I'll ride to, you know, one waypoint and back, you know, or at least I'll tell myself that, but then I'll get into it and I'll be like, I'm going to keep going. I'll keep going. And then when my legs start cramping, I go home. You know?
Yeah. Well, all you got to do, don't worry about anything else. Just worry about the habit. The habit will sustain you, and the habit will keep you healthy. Don't worry about anything else. Once you get, because consistency is key in anything. So your first obstacle is to become consistent. Once you become consistent, then you can work on scaling things up. Once you become consistent in the gym, then all the good things that come from being consistent will follow. But until you're there, you're fucked. I mean,
yeah.
And yeah, you really are. So,
what do they say? It always takes like, it's like 20 days, 30 days.
It's like 30
to take
days.
Something. But, to make it like an automatic habit.
Yeah. I mean, and that's who knows, right? Like,
yeah, I normally, it varies for me, it feels like
humans.
It's like 2 or 3 weeks. If I can do it consistently for 2 or 3 weeks, whatever the interval is,
it takes like 2 months for me. It takes me way longer to form a habit than most.
My problem isn't necessarily like whenever I have these things. It's not the discipline. The discipline of being able to just get myself there to do it is normally the easiest thing for me. The hardest thing for me is pacing myself, of not going too hard, too fast, and not getting too in my head that if I don't have a good workout, that somehow I've set myself back, you know, or like if I missed a run on one day, it's like, well, fuck it, I'll just go the next day and do it, you know, and just being like not quite as hard on myself. You know?
Yeah, I struggle with that too. I need to be like, because if I make a mistake, or, you know, in the past would eat something I wasn't supposed to, I would just snowball and like the sky, I would catastrophize and be like, I'm fucked up, and you know but that's a really self-destructive way to think, and it's a pretty anti-human, anti-self sentiment to just say fuck it when you've made one mistake. You need to stop it right there and then immediately get back on the horse.
Yeah,
that's a mistake I've made when I was younger. It's a mistake that crops up every now and again, but that is just your past self trying to fulfill the self-fulfilling prophecy of failure and not achieving your goals. Is when you let that little voice in and continue down that dark road. Can't do it.
Yeah, I have that problem too.
I don't anymore, but I did.
It's something that I've like kind of off and on struggled with for as long as I can remember. Is I don't know, I guess it's technically perfectionism, but it's not about doing it perfectly. It's about like, just, I don't know, if I'm not pushing, I don't feel like I'm doing, you know, like if I have a workout and I go like I used to, I've gotten over this with weightlifting, which is good. If I went and lifted and the next day I wasn't just terribly sore, then I used to think I didn't work hard enough.
Yeah, no,
when in reality it's like
not good.
Yeah, you know, it's like you worked out, you did all of the work. You don't have to be sore to know that you worked out. You know, the hypertrophy is still happening. You just didn't like overexert yourself.
Exactly. Well, then that keeps you from wanting to come back. So what we've learned: be gentle with yourself and focus on the habit. Focus on becoming consistent. And once you become consistent and you formed a habit, then scale it up. And until you've done that, you're not doing shit. And so the next time I talk to you, which will probably be in the next few days. I'm going to need a full report on the habits that you're trying to form about your health.
Absolutely.
Okay. Or else.
Absolutely.
And if these motherfuckers didn't subscribe, I'm coming down.
You're going to kill me.
And I'm going to kill you. So now there's two things that you need to focus on.
So I got to do my shit, but then also y'all got to do your shit. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we need it.
And Spotify or Google or really, anywhere. Wherever you want.
Wherever you want to hear
us.
Yeah, we love you guys. Thanks so much for listening. And that's all I got for you today. That's it. The sermon we preached. We preached the truth today. That's all that matters. Thanks for listening. See you guys next week.
Deuces.